Keanu, you're always great to talk to. It's always an honest conversation, an interesting conversation, but really surprising answers.
Keanu Reeves' sentence is final. After 6 decades of punishing his body and refusing to slow down, the man fans call immortal is finally facing the one ending he can't outrun. Bones repaired, joints screaming, he keeps performing like he owes the world every breath left in him. So what pushed Keanu to his breaking point? And why does 2025 mark the moment everything changes? Join us as we find out all about what has been happening to Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves has been hiding on Broadway. September 13, 2025. Keanu Reeves steps into the lights of a Broadway stage for the very first time. He is 61 years old, though something in the way he moves makes you think he has lived twice that. His right knee, the one that cracked while filming John Wick. Chapter 3 remains locked inside a pricey orthopedic brace that costs around $15,000. 8 shows each week waiting for Godot, a story where 2 men stand around, waiting for someone who never arrives. A loop of hope and disappointment. People in fancy seats clapped their hands and scribbled in notebooks. Critics tossed around big shiny words like brilliant and transformative. Ticket sales hit nearly $2 million every week. Reporters asked if this meant a new path for him. Theater now, not action movies. A reinvention. Something classy. The kind of move actors make when they want a trophy or respect. None of them got it. He was not starting a fresh chapter. He was finishing a sentence. The punishment started when he was a tiny kid. Only 3. His father, Samuel, born Hawaiian and Chinese, struggling with harmful substance and chaos, simply vanished one day from their small place in Sydney. Gone into thin air, no talk, not even a goodbye. He just left a family staring at a closed door. Keanu once said it felt like the earth opened up and swallowed his father. A child's early lesson about how fast love can evaporate. The sentence continued its course many years later. October 30th, 1993. His best friend, River Phoenix, walked into the Viper Room, the place run by Johnny Depp back then. Someone mixed and into a drink. River went outside, collapsed, and by 2 in the morning, a life that glowed like a bright star burned out. He was only 23. After that night, Keanu shook off the world of hard, harmful substance for good. He carried River's ghost with him, the way some people wear a necklace they never take off. The punishment did not stop there either. Christmas Eve, 1999. Keanu's partner, Jennifer Syme, was just 8 months pregnant. They had already chosen a name, Ava. They thought she would arrive in the new year. Then a doctor delivered a different message. Their daughter was stillborn. No signs beforehand. No warning at all. Jennifer's world was shattered, and she needed help immediately. Keanu slipped away from cameras, interviews, and red carpets. Almost a full year in silence. Grief turned him into a shadow. Then another hit came, April 2nd, 2001. Jennifer drove her Jeep down Cahuenga Boulevard, the exact stretch where Keanu had filmed Speed. Her car crashed into parked vehicles. She had not been wearing a seatbelt. The police report mentioned white powder. One day earlier, they had been together in San Francisco. Brunch, talking again, maybe healing. They said, "See you soon." There was no soon. All that history walked with him onto the stage in 2025. Everyone sitting in those velvet seats saw success. They saw a man still working, still shining, loved around the world. They clapped for the famous actor who refused to slow down. They had no idea that stepping on that stage was him fulfilling the same quiet order he had been handed long ago. Keep moving, keep showing up. Say yes again when almost anyone else would curl up and say no. The sentence reads like this. When every person you love disappears, you choose to become the one who stays. You become something solid, permanent. You answer with yes and yes and yes once more, for as long as your heart keeps beating. But where did this refusal to disappear actually begin? The Disappearing Act. Born on September 2nd, 1964 in Beirut, a baby boy with a name that sounded like wind moving through leaves, arriving in a place already heavy with trouble. His father, Samuel, only 21, was already caught in the grip of harmful substance and wild choices. His mother, Patricia, is 19, working with fabric and costumes, stitching clothes while her own life frayed at the edges. 3 weeks after his birth, the tiny family crossed an ocean to Sydney, chasing some idea of a fresh start. Before Keanu celebrated his first birthday, Samuel disappeared. Patricia packed up again and headed for New York. She kept trying to make life steady by building something like a family. Marriage number 1. Paul Aaron, a Broadway director. They tried from 1970 until 1971. 1 year, then gone. Then Robert Miller, who knew the rock world too well. Then Jack Bond. That one lasted until 1994 before it collapsed. The family photos shifted constantly. New faces, new promises, old heartbreaks. Young Keanu ended up meeting people that most kids only saw on television. Alice Cooper once babysat him. Dolly Parton gave him a moment backstage, glittering and larger than life. Fun memories, though none of them ever created that simple, warm feeling of home. There were trips to see Samuel in Hawaii, visits that should have been comforting. They were awkward instead. Father and son sitting close but feeling miles apart. The last time they saw each other was 1977. Keanu was 13. They sat together beneath that huge Hawaiian sky, hardly saying a word. The silence felt like a wall they could not climb. The next morning, Samuel drove him to the airport. No big goodbye, just another leaving. The door closed and never opened again. Years rolled on. 1992 arrived with a shock. Samuel got arrested in Hawaii, caught trying to sell a whole lot of. The judge handed him 10 years behind bars. While locked up, someone told him his son had died in a motorcycle crash. Samuel cried hard. Then later, he learned it was not true. Still, he never made the call, never tried to start over. He passed away in 2018. Estranged remained the final word. By 17, Keanu had already wandered through 4 different high schools. Dyslexia made lines of text look more like puzzles than words. Teachers read frustration in his face. He got kicked out of the Etobicoke School of the Arts because he was too disruptive. Hockey gave him a reason to show up. At De La Salle College, his teammates called him the Wall. He guarded the net like nothing would ever get through. Academics still felt like a losing game. Then came Avondale, his last stop. School wore him down. He let go of the idea of a diploma, walked away without one. Hockey still looked like a possible way out. He dreamed of skating at the Olympics someday. Then his ankle shattered in a terrible accident, bone visible beneath torn skin. The doctors patched him up, but the dream died on that cold surface. He had to find something else. 1985. He drove toward Hollywood with Hope strapped in the passenger seat. Agents looked at him and said his name sounded too strange. They pushed him to change it to Casey, a safer name, a name that fit neatly into their world. For a short while he went along. Casey Reeves appeared in some papers. Then he felt the wrongness of it, another kind of disappearing act. He returned to Keanu and never looked back.
And then River's Edge happens. Now tell me about how that all came together.
Yeah, so that was auditioning.
Yeah.
His break arrived in 1986 with River's Edge. People finally noticed him. Then came Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 3 years later. That silly, joyful script once lived on napkins before becoming a movie. Point Break in 1991 demanded he learn to surf for real. He swallowed ocean water, took hits from waves that tried to drag him under, and came out the other side still trying. He always kept trying. So when tragedy kept taking everyone, how did he respond? He gave away millions with his spine held together by metal. Just a short while before cameras rolled on The Matrix, Keanu found himself in a hospital bed instead of rehearsals. Years of stunts, motorcycles, and plain bad luck had crushed a disc in his lower spine. His legs sometimes went numb. Doctors warned him that without emergency surgery, he might lose the ability to walk. He kept that fear tucked away. He told almost no one, not the Wachowskis, not the studio. He simply showed up and got to work. During training, he hid a neck brace under his clothes. He moved carefully, protecting a body that felt like it was held together with hope and screws. Some of that stiff motion in the movie, the way Neo bends as if something inside might snap, did not come from acting. His body was still healing, still waking up from the knife. The Matrix hit theaters in March of 1999. Audiences poured money into it until the final box office counted something close to $467 million worldwide. Keanu's personal cut reached about $45 million. That number could have bought him palaces, fancy cars, and a small island. He chose something completely different. He gave away about 70% of it, roughly $31.5 million. It went straight into cancer research. No magazine spread, no award dinner. He started a private foundation that worked quietly, far from spotlights, while everyone kept talking about bullet time and leather coats. Cancer had already struck his family. His sister Kim received a leukemia diagnosis back in 1991. 10 years of treatments, needles, and sleepless nights. 10 years of Keanu right beside her, refusing to let her face it alone. He sold his house so he could be near the medical center. He spent more than $5 million trying anything that might ease her suffering. During the worst nights, she would cry, and he would sit by her bed, just holding her hand. She once said he felt like her shield, not a hero in a movie. A real one. Kim survived in 2001. Her victory came in the same year Jennifer died. Grief and relief tangled together. Even now, Keanu pauses projects whenever Kim needs him. The foundation continues its work in the background, still without his name stamped on every brick. When Speed exploded in 1994, the studio waved a mountain of cash in front of him. $75 million to keep playing the action star. He shook his head. Then in 1997, they offered him $11 million for Speed 2. He walked away from that too.
When a while back there was a film, they were going to do a sequel to Speed.
Oh yeah, right.
And I think then that turned into, because when I decided not to do it, that became, well, he wants to play his music and not do that.
So he could join Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate for much less money. His agent thought he had lost his mind. Keanu just wanted stories worth telling. Today, in 2025, he fights a strange new enemy. The internet invented fake versions of him. Thousands of deepfake scammers using his face and voice to steal hearts and bank accounts. One woman in Kentucky lost $160,000. Another in Texas lost so much that she ended up without a home.
A local woman has a warning for others out there looking for love after she fell for an online scam.
Yeah, the woman thought she was being courted by movie star Keanu Reeves until she saw a red flag.
In 2024 alone, more than 40,000 impersonator accounts were deleted. That means over 100 fake Keanus vanished from the web every single day. All while Keanu spends about $50,000 each month trying to protect strangers from a version of himself that does not even exist. Giving is good, so how did that same generosity translate into physical destruction? Broken bones. He kept hidden. In 2014, when he reached 50 years of age, Keanu stepped into a role that strangely suited the life he had been carrying for so long. John Wick, a character fueled by loss who just keeps going.
This is John Wick's last hurrah, and he knows it's the end of the line. He's got one mission, he's gonna finish it, whether he ends up alive or dead at the end of it. It's kind of a mad sprint to the end.
During a fight scene on that first film, he threw a punch that landed wrong and cracked the bones in his left hand. He waved away suggestions to stop. No hospital. The medic wrapped it up between takes, and he went right back into the fight. A few years later, John Wick. Chapter 2 showed up in 2017. There is that pencil scene everyone talks about. It looks like less than a minute on screen. They spent about 14 hours over 2 days getting it right. At one point, his shoulder slipped out of place. He ended up having surgery. 3 days passed, only 3. Then he returned to the set, moving like nothing had happened while most people would not even be out of bed for weeks. By the time Chapter 3 began in 2019, he was 54. Training 10 hours every day for half a year.
In John Wick 3, 5 months of nothing but action sequences is a lot. In the rain, in New York, running up and down Fifth Avenue, riding horses, riding motorcycles.
Motorcycle rehearsal on the Brooklyn Bridge went wrong. He crashed hard. His right kneecap broke into pieces. Doctors call it a patellar fracture. the kind that normally sends someone into a long recovery. Screws, physical therapy, patience. He did the surgery, then he kept on performing the stunts that everyone told him to avoid. Throwing opponents against marble tombstones. Real marble. His knee was screaming each time he moved. The crew ordered that expensive custom brace, worth $15,000, just to help him walk without the whole thing collapsing. Chapter 4 came out in 2023. He was 58 now. They asked him to ride a horse at full speed through Berlin traffic. During a take, the horse freaked out. Keanu almost met a concrete wall head first. He walked away with a concussion and ribs that turned purple. Later that same day, he climbed back into the saddle. They repeated that sequence 47 times across nearly 3 weeks. This habit of breaking himself to stay useful had roots buried deep. Be the wall. Take the hit. Stay upright. When The Matrix Resurrections appeared in 2021, he was 57 and still aching from everything that came before. He sat down and rewrote about half of Neo's lines himself. The movie cost around $190 million and brought in less than $160 million. Everyone called it a flop. Then something surprising arrived in December of 2024. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Keanu gave his voice to Shadow, his first major animated role at 60. The movie raced past $725 million around the world. Even when his body protested, his voice kept going. The sentence continued. So after all this destruction, what's the final verdict? The final verdict and what happens when you can't die. In December of 2023, someone slipped into Keanu's place in the Hollywood Hills. They grabbed 6 watches. One of them was a Rolex worth a little under $10,000, engraved with the letters JW4. He had given those watches to his stunt crew. That loss stung the most, not because of the price tag, but because it meant loyalty and sweat and surviving long days together. Police in Chile eventually recovered the stolen pieces in July of 2025 when they busted an international ring. Keanu spoke to the court through a screen, lending his voice from far away. The watches came back. Still, the worst theft in his life right now doesn't come from a broken window. It comes from the internet. There are thousands of fake Keanu Reeves profiles scattered across social apps. They whisper love to strangers on Facebook and promise magic on Instagram. They smile in deepfake photos that look almost real. Scammers use his face to hunt for lonely hearts. Middle-aged women who still hope someone sees them. They spend weeks weaving stories that sound like a dream until money enters the conversation. A widow in Kentucky, 52 years old, handed over $160,000. The fake Keanu said he was tied up in legal trouble and had no access to his fortune, that she would get everything back soon. She lost everything instead. In Texas, a nurse aged 48 sent so much of her savings that she ended up living from her car. During 2024, a company named Loti tried to clean up the mess. They took down over 40,000 fake Keanus, which works out to more than 100 every day. That still leaves countless fakes untouched. Keanu now pays Loti $50,000 each month just to protect strangers from people pretending to be him. $600,000 every year so that someone else's heartbreak can maybe be avoided. After all that sorrow in his life, he somehow found love again. Alexandra Grant, an artist he worked with back in 2011 on a book called Ode to Happiness. Their friendship slowly turned into something real, but they hid it for a long time, guarding it from the world. They walked a red carpet together in 2019. Keanu was 55, Alexandra 51. People talked too much about it online. In February of 2025, Keanu mentioned that she rides motorcycles with him now. His first truly public relationship since everything fell apart long ago. He protects it the same way he protects his own image. When someone altered his face digitally in the late 1990s, he was furious. Every contract he signs now forbids it. When the pandemic hit in 2020, he volunteered quietly at food banks in Los Angeles. No cameras, no announcements. His private foundation still supports children's hospitals and cancer research, and his name remains hidden. He shares profits with the crew who make his movies possible. In 2024, he received an award named after Lance Reddick, his friend from John Wick, who passed in 2023.
It's the Lance Reddick Legacy Award, and so I'm very honored for that.
Lance, we miss you, sir. We all miss you so much.
Another person gone. John Wick 5 is on its way. He is open to another Bill and Ted. Someone asked if he would return to Broadway. He smiled and said yes. Then yes again. That's the rule he lives by now. Yes and yes, every time. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Also, check out another interesting video by clicking on the link shown on your screen. See you on the other side.